Welcome back to the coolest channel on YouTube, man. Look, smash that like button. Let's get this video to like 15,000 likes, y'all. Look, I had to take like a 3-day break. Look, I ain't gonna lie. I gotta confess to y'all, I just got a BBL. Let me explain.
We back, y'all. What's good? About to play this Rivals?
Hold on. Let me explain. Bring this shit in. All right, so look, I got up one morning and I'm the type of dude that I like to take a shower and go to bed, but I don't like to put on lotion. So I got up in the morning. My son, you know what I'm saying, I was getting up in the morning to feed him. We was coming down the steps. I stay in a 4-story place. So the stairs are steep. Man, when I tell you that my feet were so ashy. My feet were so ashy. When I took that first step, I had my son in my hand. How about I slipped and fell down the goddamn steps, y'all. And my son was on my side, so I had to turn in the air so that his legs wasn't underneath me, so I didn't break his legs falling down the steps. My son is on top of me, looking me in my eye. I'm hitting. But when I tell you, but them steps hurt, I hit every damn step on the way down, y'all. And the steps are super steep. It's like you're falling off a building. It's like an avalanche. And I know the neighbors heard me, man. I hit every step and I was, ooh. Look, my hip is protruding out from the side, but look, I'm trying to sit here. I'm gonna try to maintain through this damn video. Make sure y'all smash that damn like button. I'm in pain. But we're gonna get this damn done because there's work to be done, y'all. But make sure y'all watch this video right here to the end. There's a lot of important messages in here. Even if you've seen some of the clips before, just look how we lining them up. This is about creating the story to show you a better picture of what is taking place, what has taken place, and how they've been taught us through the years from putting this stuff in movies and clips, and it correlates with the files. This shit is, it's on a whole nother level, y'all. So smash that like button. I appreciate y'all. Subscribe to the channel. We're on our way to 1 million. Let's keep sharing these videos so we can keep getting the word out here. This shit is important. This is our future. Let's get it. And just know, if you're going through a tough time, you're not in this shit by yourself. We're in this thing called life together. Let's get it.
You know, as I sit back and I watch the entire world come to the realization that these so-called elites are in fact not elites and they're not even fucking human.
Wow.
I can't help but to recall in 2022 when I gave you the exact passage in the Emerald Tablets that explained who these beings were and the glamour magic that they placed on us. And y'all told me I was fucking evil. Told me I didn't know what I was talking about, and any other book that I was reading besides the Bible was blasphemy. Yet here we are, 4 years later. Okay. The first spell that they had to place on us was to make us not see who they were. And it is called a glamour spell. They talk about it in the Emerald Tablets. It is in the Emerald Tablet, Tablet 8 or Book 8 under the Key of Mysteries. And I'm going to read this to you, and it's going to hit you when I read it. In the form of man moved they amongst us, but only to sight were they as are men. Serpent-headed when the glamour was lifted, but appearing to man as men among men, crept into the councils, taking forms that were like unto men, slaying their arts, the chiefs of their kingdoms, taking their form and ruling over men. Only by magic could they be discovered. Only by sound could their faces be seen. Sought they from the kingdom of shadows to destroy man and rule in his place. But know ye, the masters were mighty in magic, able to lift the veil from the face of the serpent, able to send him back to his place. There's a reason why they had to make us forget, because we were the masters and we could see through their veil. So in order to make us forget, they had to do two spells. They had to do a glamour spell to cover up who they were, and those are the people of council. This is literally good and evil. This is literally good and evil. The people who have counsel are those that are the serpents that are hidden. Yeah. They wear veils in order to disguise themselves from us. We are under a glamour spell, so we don't see them for the serpents that they are. And we're also under that last video, a persuasion spell to make us forget. The persuasion spell is to persuade us that we are something other than what we truly are. It's the reason why they wanted to end segregation, because if we stayed in segregation too long, we would identify who we were sooner than later. You get what I'm saying? By integrating us into their system, into their world, they have created this mind fuck that makes us believe that we are not who we are, which is masters. I hope y'all following me.
I think y'all don't understand that this is not no black and white thing. This is good versus evil. I am a literal
I keep
earth
telling
angel. I'm not even joking. My sun sign is an earth sign. My rising sign is an air sign. I am a literal earth angel. My main purpose here is to be a messenger. Yes, I have other gifts. I'm a healer. I'm a seer. I can do all that. My main purpose here is to be a messenger. That's why I come and I give y'all these messages. That's why y'all, when y'all hear these messages, it hits y'all so hard when they come from me, because that's my actual purpose. I'm not just talking shit. I'm not just bringing fucking shit out of my ass. I am literally bringing these messages from the ethers.
Do what the fuck I say and do not fucking hesitate. Go listen to the song You Are Just Another Part of Me by Michael Jackson. Do not go listen to the song. Listen as if someone is telling you fucking instructions, okay? He is very clearly telling you what the fuck is going on. Listen to the Michael Jackson song, You Another Part of Me. Read the fucking words, okay?
My soul is not yours to claim.
I was telling y'all that mic was bigger than what y'all think it is, and that's why they tried to demonize Michael Jackson. And the famous character is because he was telling too much of the truth. They were catching on a little bit too late, and he was starting to take over the record labels as well, which is their monetary system to control the demographic of people that are fine with arts and communication. And let's keep going though.
A filthy game these boys playing. They rigging the game with black magic, Cam. I know this for a fact. They rigging the game, man. They making these sacrifices to these whatever they are. We see people in Congress coming out and say, "Oh, it's not aliens. It's extra dimensionals. And you see Hillary Clinton filing FOIA to get the location of Gilgamesh's tomb. This stuff was supposed to be fake. Gilgamesh is a fallen angel, which would make him, what, a demon? Why is he filing FOIA requests for his burial site?
If it
And
doesn't
they
exist.
found the burial site. You know, BBC came out with this story years ago with the actual footage from this place. And everything they told us was fake has turned out to be true.
Lucifer Morningstar, Holy Trinity Church in England. Why y'all got that motherfucker in there for? Why y'all got this motherfucker in there for? Why y'all always gotta have demonic demons inside your motherfucking churches for, dog? This should be letting me know everything that I already be knowing about you motherfuckers. When y'all say y'all worshiping God and Lord, that's who the fuck y'all really be talking about. I'm dead ass serious. Y'all got him in your church too motherfucking much, dog. Just like at the Vatican. Y'all got all them demonic demon statues every motherfucking well. Why y'all got all these demons around all these churches and all these cathedrals and shit? What's up with that shit? Tell me who you really work for. Show me who you really work for. Cause y'all be putting this shit right in front of our motherfucking face, hitting in plain sight. And everybody think these motherfuckers so holier than thou whole time, but they worshiping Lucifer out this motherfucker. Big facts. And when you look into the history of all these churches all around the motherfucking world, especially here in America too, all the things they be doing behind closed doors, things they used to do to people who look like me back in the motherfucking day, you can see that people are worshiping some real demonic shit and acting like they good people when they really evil motherfuckers. But you ain't gotta believe me. They putting it in your motherfucking face, dog.
Remember when the United Kingdom said America's socioeconomic disposition could be manipulated and the financial markets could collapse if the American government confirms the existence of alien life on the planet? According to the FBI, the World Economic Forum, and the Council of Foreign Relations, they said that Iran has the ability to shut down the power grid with a cyber attack, which is a electromagnetic pulse efficiency, which is equated to the 10 days of darkness. Because when you shut down the power grid, you shut down the banks and all technological devices. So it's not a coincidence that the Trump administration and the American government is beefing with Iran right now in real time, which is basically the epitome of World War III. Now remember, I was telling you guys that the Bible is nothing but a Freemasonic playbook, because when you get into biblical context, when you're talking about Ezekiel 38 and 39, it's talking about the unification process of Gog and Magog, which is basically in real time Iran, China, and Russia that attacks Israel, which controls America. So with that being said, when you're talking about the Trump administration talking about alien disclosure, they're actually giving you a warning that the banks are about to collapse from foreign militarized groups like Iran for the 10 days of darkness.
That mole? Do you see that mole right there? Oh yeah. Look at that. Wow, dude. This is just absolutely wild.
Okay, so now on the left-hand side is Osiris. So look at
Dude, that's an Anunnaki.
Yeah. Right. So
that's Anunnaki.
That's Enlil and Enki, the Anunnaki, and that's Osiris, and Isis is behind him. Those wings are the wings of Isis, and Osiris are fighting the Anunnaki.
Absolutely it is. Yeah, the Anunnaki on either side. This is in the Boston Public Library. The wing disc. Yeah, the wing disc. And that is, dude, do you see that mole? Do you see that mole right there? Oh, yeah. Look at that.
This is Megatron. And these are the glasses from the movie Transformers of Sam Witwicky's grandfather called Archibald Witwicky. Archibald goes to the Arctic Circle, which is in the North Pole. And while going on this expedition, Archibald falls through this ice into a cave, stumbles upon this giant in the ice, and it was Megatron.
Think about that. Think about it. The government has a budget to put information in movies. Think about the ice. Think about the ice that's melting rapidly, and they have so much concern about it.
Megatron activates once it sees that there is a human in its vicinity and sears this image of its coordinates onto the glasses of Archibald Witwicky, blinding him at the same time. Later, he is imprisoned in a psychiatric ward because they say he went insane because he said he saw a giant in the ice. His grandson, Sam Witwicky, gets a hold of these glasses, and they turn out to be exactly what his grandfather said. This technological, advanced being, biomechanical, giant Nephilim.
And who's looking for the Nephilim? Who's looking for the bodies? Okay. Hillary?
Has now been activated and sends this signal out to all the other ones that are hiding in plain sight. They have the ability to shapeshift or transform into something that humans can recognize and go amongst us without being seen. Then they look for them, and the name of these particular entities are called Decepticons.
Now think about this in another way. A Decepticon, if they're known to blend in to things that we recognize, think about the movie Nope. Remember the clouds? Remember everything. Keep that in mind when you watch this video, because it's not just speaking about people, it's speaking about things as well, objects.
They have the ability to communicate technologically at a speed that is beyond train of thought. In the computers. Right in the computers. Right through the cell phone. Right through these waves, these frequencies. And they try to find this leader that is buried. And they grab him, the military does, and they hide him under the Hoover Dam. This is quite a story, don't you think? The military knows, they grab it, they put him in the Hoover Dam, and they extract technology from this particular being. Wow.
Naked Scroll? When did I sign up for this content? I'm not complaining. Who is that? I can't tell if it's a guy or not. It don't look like Emilia Clarke under there. What? That must be Katie Finneran, who played the female Scroll, pretending
Memory serves, I shit canned you into oblivion a few days ago.
About the shit can he rizzed up your spy.
That's how extreme it is.
It's okay, you can just throw it back up.
Crazy.
Secret Invasion explained in 1 minute. In Marvel's Secret Invasion storyline, a clandestine infiltration of Earth unfolds as Skrulls, shape-shifting extraterrestrial beings. secretly replace key
Hello, to
figures
the
in various
Arnold
organizations,
Classic.
including superheroes.
I know, you
Led
told
by
me
Queen
when we were
Varanki,
at
the
a-
Skrulls execute a
It's,
long-term
in a
plan to
week.
destabilize Earth and pave the way for their invasion. The infiltration is so pervasive that even
No,
some
I'm just
iconic
gonna- no, I'm just
superheroes
actually
are
gonna
revealed to
go
be Skrull imposters.
look and all that.
Shield faces.
Not
Internal
really into
strife
competition.
as trust erodes among its members, leading to a complex web of alliances and betrayals. The situation reaches a climax when the Skrulls launch a full-scale invasion, culminating in intense battles between Earth's defenders and the shape-shifting invaders. The storyline concludes with a surprising resolution exposing the extent of the Skrull infiltration and its impact on the Marvel Universe.
Someone want to tell me why the Illuminati has not been real, yet there's a whole ass file listing the Illuminati families and their association in the Epstein files? I'll just let you take a look at this. We got the Disney bloodline, the Mormon bloodline, the Rothschilds, Rockefellers. Don't worry, there's more. Remember the Bilderberg group that Alex Jones said existed? House of Rothschilds. You want to see something even crazier? The Trilateral Commission? Big thanks to boom, throughout the 20th century, the present-day Rockefeller family's so-called philanthropy and power politics have been pivotal in the move to create a so-called New World Order. Let's continue. These are members of the Trilateral Group. Look whose name that is. Wow. Among other names. I'm sure you can just check that out real quick.
It was Jeffrey Epstein, if you can't see.
I'll link this below so you guys can go check this out yourself, but this is fucking insane. There are so many names on this Trilateral Group, like it's ridiculous.
Adrenochrome. That's not true. It's C9H9NO3. This is a chemical compound that is absolutely, this has been around in modern science since the 1930s. You can actually, there's a synthetic form and there's a regular, natural form, which is caused by torturing little kids to get their adrenaline up, essentially, and then extracting it from them. I also happen to be a gentleman. When you sit and so I brought this up a few years ago, and all of a sudden I was attacked by every media. Look it up. It's there. They absolutely went after me. And the next day, I never heard from my agents, my agency for 14 months. My lawyers let me go. My agency never called me after that, and essentially I was done.
That's because if they can't control you, they will try to destroy you. Now that we have a lot of eyes on, it's a lot harder for them to get by and do these things now. Game is over.
And he only refers to one specific group in this way. So we had this incident in New York City a couple years back, and then we have the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles who live in the sewers underneath New York City, and they eat pizza. I also just saw a trailer. They're coming out with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Chrome. It shows them literally morphing into Nephilim. Like they grow extra fingers and stuff and they become gigantic. But I want to show you this movie I came across on YouTube because I actually cannot believe how upfront it is.
The creatures who deceive the humans in the name of God were reptile-like aliens called reptilians. The reptilians like to eat the animals of Earth and occasionally enjoyed eating human flesh too.
They brainwashed the Earthlings by using the name of God when their true intentions were to invade and overtake the Earth.
But this was a violation of the Universal Code, which states that no planet should interfere with any other planet as long as its people live with the spirit of love and harmony.
They cunningly devised a plan that would not breach the Universal Code.
They brainwashed individuals and used them to instigate disorder in society. This gave the Reptilians a reason to interfere. They then intended to have their compatriots immigrate to Earth so they could control the planet before the space police interfered.
I'm here to take your daughter. She has been chosen to be the next sacrifice to God.
Listen well, everyone. I have a message directly from God. He wants you all to know that we are the chosen people. God has promised us endless life and everlasting youth. And now let the sacrifice begin!
That's a movie called Laws of the Sun, and it came out in the year 2000.
Seen anyone else turn into anything like that, and it happened. It was like a weird hologram, and it had like big black eyes. You know, and I also saw Epstein shapeshift on the island. You know, when I was on the island, I saw Epstein like suddenly, and people have actually asked some pretty good questions recently. It wasn't like I saw him turning like the Incredible Hulk. What happened is, it was when I was taken in the bedroom the one time, and he had like a blanket up to here. And then I looked away and I looked at him, and suddenly it wasn't him anymore. It wasn't like I saw him turning. It was like it was him. And
Man, this nigga look like a grasshopper, don't he? He like one of the low-ranking grasshoppers. Look. I'm pretty sure we can whoop his ass though. I know I can.
I looked away, and then when I looked back, it wasn't him. It was this weird creature. And then I looked away, and then I looked back, and it was him again.
This is Juliet Bryant, a verified Epstein survivor who spoke about what you just heard. And this is the thing that people are not going to be ready for at least, like, I don't know, 10 years. The documents that were released by the government for the Epstein files even talked about supernatural things such as time travel. And it's going to come out that these people are not even human. These people who have been controlling the world are literally lizard people. I know everyone has liked to make fun of that for the past 20 years, people saying that, but you know what? It's honestly true. These people are not human. They're able to shapeshift, and they need human flesh to survive, human blood, and something called achrome in order to fulfill whatever their body needs. They need it from humans, and their supply is running out because they've been killed. There's an underground branch of the military going through all the tunnels, literally right now, finding all these lizard people and taking them out. And now the disclosure is finally happening to the world, and people just want to ignore it and dissociate. But you know what? The truth is going to come out at some point, and honestly, most of you are going to be dead before it even does.
Damn, he ain't have to say it like that. But look, you have to understand why the politicians got super weird at one point when they came up with the document of the people that were in behind the scenes. Well, politicians that were, hauled off to jail and executed. All of a sudden, they got really weird. Really strange. You started seeing different politicians, but they were supposed to be the same person. Same politician, different ears. Same politician, different skin. Same politician, different height, different build. Speaking a little different, walk a little different. It all starts to make sense. The Galactic Federation here and taking care of business right now and exterminating them. I'm not going to say that I know yet. I've been far removed from the inside crowd of like knowing things, being around certain people that know things and documents that I've seen. But I would say this, it's very, very, very strange. And I can't help to feel like a lot of people aren't who they are because they have been removed from the public eye. We've covered a lot of this on the channel. Say the names in the comments down below. You understand who I'm talking about. Who do you think has been replaced?
Y'all ain't doing it. In Mesopotamia, which is an ancient place, they had these sculptures. This is a reptile, like a standing humanoid reptile that has a baby reptile sucking on his breast. And this was made back then where there wasn't entertainment. They created these things to warn us. But you know what they did? These things stood in power and started controlling the information that we received. So they've been amongst us this whole time.
The Illuminati are actually run by these 13 bloodlines, which are all of the royal families in Europe and in England. And they need the blood because they are, in fact, not human. They take human shape. They are reptilians, and they need the blood. The blood helps them maintain their reptilian shape, and it helps them maintain their sanity, and it helps them to live in this world because they are not from this world. But what they need is, for it to be secreted in the blood, is they need terrorization of their victims before they are killed for their blood.
Would you say that we are currently under the control of reptilians?
I think so. They control the media, they control the banks, they control the educational system, they control religion. What's left?
So what is the actual process towards awakening that humans can achieve? How do we kick our rulers aside and activate our own potential?
The main advantage that we have is our consciousness.
Elon, this your mom? This her? It's your mom? So you're telling me that this is Elon Musk's mom? No, for real, that's her?
Who do you think you want to be today?
That's your mom? No, like for real, this is his mom? Yeah, this is Elon's mom. I decided to do some digging with my good buddy Webb and wanted to see if May Musk turns up in the Epstein files. And to nobody's surprise, she definitely does. But after digging in a little further with Webb, it seems like the entire Musk family was involved with Epstein. One of the emails that Webb found was pretty weird. I guess Epstein walks into like some party or something with this blonde chick, and he's writing in this email to tell Elon, yo, that blonde girl that I came in with is actually a friend of Elon's mom. And apparently Elon's mom was trying to set Elon up with this chick. Her name's, I can't pronounce this name at all. Ifke Sturm? I don't know. Then there's this other email from Kimball Musk, which would be Elon's brother, and he's thanking this Boris Nikolic and Jeffrey Epstein for setting him up with this Jennifer Kayla girl. But then this Boris guy sends another email back saying, make sure you're good to her because Jeffrey doesn't like if you don't treat his girls/girlfriends well. Not only did things go south between Kimball and Jennifer, but Jennifer eventually goes back to dating Epstein. According to these emails that I found with Webb anyways. And this email just popped up. I thought it was really funny that Epstein can't spell congratulations. So I just thought I'd share. And when Kimball seems to be having a hard time, Epstein says, come relax on the island, man. Come on over, hang out with us. And this last one might mean something, might mean nothing. But it's an email from Epstein to Michael Wolff talking about possibly attending this Women in the World Summit. And just so happens that a couple of the women being recognized in attendance are not only Hillary Clinton, but May Musk. And Epstein is trying to figure out whether or not they should go to this thing. So Epstein is attending parties with friends of May Musk. He's linking Kimball Musk up with girls that he knows. And these emails show that he's linking Elon Musk up with girls despite being married and attending parties with Elon Musk. So yeah, the whole Musk clan is involved with Epstein.
That potentially why Elon was trying so hard to get back to the island and Epstein wouldn't fuck with him no more? Ooh.
Today's...
We've seen this right here many times, right? I have anyway. But do you catch what they've been already showing us for a very long time? And with this movie coming out, it's my birth month, but I wasn't shocked because we've seen it already before. And I just had to include this into the compilation because it correlates so good with somebody speaking through somebody. Let's just get to it.
Just more weirdish to see. Look at the lady in the back mimicking the speaker.
Hey, look, y'all, they've been already doing this in front of our faces, but you know, some people were you're so afraid of things not being the way that you planned them or you want them to be. It's out of your comfort zone, so you automatically rule it out when we already have the technology that can do these type of things, that can insert we can insert thoughts into your mind and make you actually believe that shit. We can also, you know, project. Well, you think if they can control thoughts into your mind, that's the same thing that the movie Inception was showing.
Judge,
but
jury,
I'm not saying she's a lizard, but she's a fucking lizard. And they have telepathy, mind control. We do too, but they convinced everybody that we don't. That's another thing that was happening during the Epstein files. It's a thing called Stranger Things. It correlates with the movie. They were doing experiments on children and they were making them tap into abilities, and you can look this shit up. It is no longer, it's not a conspiracy. It's real. Facts. It's in the files. Giants in the files. I know this is mind blowing to a lot of people, but it's nothing to be afraid of. We gotta start stepping. We got mean. What's happened to us? We gotta start stepping. Fuck the divide. Fuck your color. All of that stuff. Your religion. We need to connect as people. We need to get back to that. We need to get back to square one. Real talk. Like this shit's stupid. Meanwhile, everything is going to shit and we're doing nothing about it. I'm trying to get the message out here. We need to start stepping together. Not in the streets. We're mobilizing a different way. Start meditating, start eating right. We'll be able to hear each other, see each other, feel each other. We'll be stepping in the right direction, more respect for each other. We'll protect each other. Excuse me, but let's get back to the basics.
They've used their collider to open up a portal to communicate with extraterrestrial beings.
Whoa.
And one of them are the occupants from 3i Atlas.
Now let's make this clip, now knowing all of that, let's make this clip right here hit a lot harder. Pay attention to it.
To be clear, CERN already has a room and a technology to open a portal to talk to extraterrestrials.
Yes.
But recently, they also used it to communicate with the beings on 3i Atlas.
That's correct.
Okay, go on.
So those beings introduced themselves as such, like that we are the occupants of this object, and they did not show up physically. They show up as holograms. Now, they apparently showed up as holograms. They looked tall, that's what she said, and they communicated telepathically with every single scientist in the room.
Wow.
And they all got the same message, which is that they are coming in peace and they're just trying to come over here to gather all the star seeds of this planet.
So when you remote viewed, did you pick up on that intention as well?
Yes and no. I believe that the direct reptilians, will be coming to Earth, but as to know what the exact intent, that I could not really say.
Well, this is an extraordinary development.
It is.
So you remote viewed 3i Atlas. Did you do that on your own, or were you tasked with this assignment?
I was tasked by the same intelligence people I'm working with to look at the object, because those had concerns. But what I saw as a remote viewer was a mothership with occupants on board, and they were mostly direct reptilian occupants.
Okay.
That's what I saw as a remote viewer.
And that was corroborated by other remote viewers seeing the same thing.
That's correct. Yes.
The ship and Draco.
That's correct. One of them is John Vivanco, who is also a known remote viewer, and he announced it publicly as well. And other people from the Stargate program as well. So they basically all came up with the same idea.
They sent the military into inner Earth to basically scope the area and take resources and colonize just like they do everything else. But what they didn't realize is that when they got down there, they seen that they was actually on the surface world and we were actually living in inner Earth. So when you're actually looking at the sky dome and you're pointing up, it's actually down. That's the bottom of the fishbowl.
Seeing it on Black Panther, who came up out the water.
Every 2 weeks there will be, like I said, to equivalent to 58 years on Earth. So they had to, a lot of people disappeared. right? A lot of people are still coming back from that war. You understand? So some people went in 1960 and they just coming out of this war, you know.
What y'all think is going down there in the center of the earth, and why every country has a treaty? They come together for what? Yeah.
The realm of the eternal. You know, time moves slower there. You don't age at all.
Yo, what the fuck? A former NASA engineer just claimed Earth is covered in trillions of invisible alien devices, and that there are hidden alien surveillance networks already operating across the entire planet. Richard Bundred, a former NASA propulsion engineer, just dropped some serious claims that most people haven't even heard of. Now, he says what we are seeing in the skies, the UFOs, the flying triangles, even the disappearances, are not the full story. Now, according to him, the real issue is what we can't see. Now, he claims trillions of tiny alien-made devices are cloaked all around the world, in the air, on the ground, maybe even near you, and that they are capable of shape-shifting and blending into any environment. Now, he worked with the US government in private research groups, and he says the tech is so advanced, it's literally hundreds of years ahead of what we have now. Now, some of these materials literally turn into dust when they're being studied, like they're designed to self-destruct to keep us from figuring them out. He even warned that all of this could be part of a long-term manipulation of our species. If he's right, this isn't just about aliens visiting Earth, folks. It's about them being here and already watching. What do you think, though? Are we finally waking up to the truth? Or is this just a big part of the fucking bigger setup?
I hope y'all can hear me, because every time I try to record this video, there's noise. Now my neighbor has his motorcycle going off. But y'all see the sun right here, right? So it's to my right here. All right, directly above me is the moon. Can y'all see it? Let's see if we can find it.
Now we can.
Right there.
Yep, now we can.
Above me is the moon that's supposed to be on the other side of the world. But y'all still think that we're on a freaking floating ball. And this hole don't even look real, but we already know what that is. So there's the moon directly above me. And right there is the sun. Wait, what's next to it? Wait, what the fuck? What's that? This the sun. What's this?
And look at the little dot on her screen. That's moving. The dot on by the sun is not. So it's not a reflection. That is not that. So I don't want to hear that shit in the comments. That's stupid. I ain't gonna lie to you. That's a stupid comment. If you were about to type that shit, just stop your fingers while you at it. It's there.
This.
We've all seen it. It's there.
Y'all, what is... Hold on. What is above the sun?
Is it a reflection from the firmament?
There until I zoomed in.
No, it's not.
What the hell? That's the sun. What is this? What is that above the sun? What is happening? Y'all, there's something next to the sun.
Who do you think you want to be today?
Okay. Alright. Alright. And he hella loud. You can even see the other dots on top of... Wait, now it moved to... Y'all, what the hell just happened? Okay. Alright. Okay.
You'll need a top-notch team to win this one.
The hand of heaven is here. Show some respect.
Dolby Atmos. Dolby Atmos. 2020.
Round one.
I will do all of the hard work.
Before you adjust, get ready.
I know some people gonna be in the comments, oh, that's a military, this and that. Like, most of y'all don't know shit about the military. You don't know what we're capable of and what type of technology that we do have. There's levels to this shit. I'm not even at the top, but I can tell you I'm way higher than most. And I ain't been smoking shit. I can tell you from experience. It's not what you think it is.
Tell me, what are the odds that the notary to the deed of what was both Epstein and Howard Lutnick's property at 11 East 71st Street, because yes, Epstein owned that property before Lutnick owned that property. It was transferred to Epstein for just $10 in 1992. Epstein passed the deed to a Comet Trust in 1996, again for just $10, of which a Guido Goldman was a trustee, the son of one of the founders of the World Jewish Congress. And then it was passed to Lutnick in 1996 for, again, just $10. Who notarized the deed transferring this property from Jeffrey Epstein to the Comet Trust in 1996? A Gary Pollard. A Gary Pollard just so happened to be in the perfect spot at the perfect time to record the perfect shot of the South Tower collapsing on September 11th, 2001. Is it just a weird coincidence that Jeffrey Epstein and Howard Lutnick owned 911 East 71st Street?
I couldn't even look at y'all straight because y'all, yeah.
If you live in Charlotte, do not skip this video. This shit's serious, bro. It's getting real out here. Trigger warning. Trigger warning. So last night I have a job to do. I'm doing some work in Alexan Loso Apartments on South Boulevard across the street from the QT and platform and all that. I'm trying to leave. Like, getting in the building was already a headache, but at the time I'm trying to leave, I could not find my way out. And I do this, you know what I'm saying? I know I usually have to go somewhere one time and I can get in and out. It ain't hard, right? But I get lost. And on my way out, I'm like, damn, like, why would they design the building like this? It's almost like they don't want me to get out. So I finally run into a resident. And so I'm asking her, like, hey, what's how I get down to the parking garage so I can get back outside to the main street? And she's like, oh, yeah, you know, she told me how to get out. And then I'm like, so how long did it take you to learn your way around this building? She says, oh, my God, I know. It's almost like they don't want us to get out.
No rest.
So me being the adult that I am now, I like to leave reviews, good and bad. So I go to find out who was the developer so I can leave them a crazy review.
I don't leave reviews, but but I feel you. Sometimes I like reading them.
On Google, telling them like, yeah, y'all designed.
Let me know in the comments down below if you one of them type of people that leave reviews.
Like, it looks nice, but what the hell, how do you get around this motherfucker? And what I found will shock you. This is the developer. Trammell Crow or Trammell, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. This is the developer. It looks like a clean cut, nice, like, you know, cool. I think they based out of Dallas or Fort Worth, somewhere around there. So now the ADHD kick in. I'm like, well, who is this person? Like, they started this company, they doing good. Like, let me see who this is. So I go to look it up. And what I found will shock you. That building was not designed like that by accident. If y'all want to take some time and pause and read that, you can. I think that's from Bloomberg. It's an article from Bloomberg. But just know that they had a hearing to try to get it thrown out, and the judge said, hell no. That building is not designed like that by accident. And keep in mind, this is just an accusation. However, that building is not designed like that for no reason. And just in case this video blows up, I love myself. I do not want to harm myself. I have a purpose in this life. I'm gonna be here for a very long time. I'm planning on doing it. So if something happens to me, I did not do it myself. Y'all have a blessed one.
Nah, support, bro. Oh, hey, bro, we in the same city, my boy. Hey, I got you, my man. Like, I already know how it is. You know what I'm saying? You safe out here in these streets. There's nothing they can do to you.
The current score
Keep your frequency up.
0-2.
There are two types of people in this world.
Time to switch things up, including which side you're on.
80 million, 100 million. No, but that's now you selling your soul.
To win this one.
$100 million, you can have my soul.
Show some respect.
That's you. Now we know your character. Sometimes, you know, you look at people and you be like, dang, man, you ain't got no dignity, you ain't got no morals. Like, come on, man. Like, what you gonna stand for if everything is about money?
So, which one are you? Well, you know what? You've been lied to. Money can buy happiness in some cases, but what it can't buy is character. And don't get it twisted, money is good, money is amazing when it's your servant, but it's a terrible master. And once everything is for sale, you're no longer choosing, you're just reacting to the highest bidder. So you end up getting owned, even if you're getting paid. A lot of people don't know this, but money really talks. And it asks you a couple questions. You know, like how quiet can you be? How flexible can you get? And if you don't decide to answer ahead of time, well, then the offer is going to decide for you. One of the greatest lies ever told is that money makes you free. Money only gives you freedom when you have a code. And if you don't have a code, well, then it just buys you a nicer cage.
That booty is theirs.
Facts. And that's what we live in. We live in a society where we have a bunch of people that people used to idolize. I ain't gonna say idolize anymore, but used to idolize, and they sold us out for money. They do anything for money. They signed away their lives for some shit they can't come back from. This next segment is showing exactly. It's not just the politicians that sold us out because they were compromised a long time ago. A lot of them aren't who they say they are. No longer. Been gone a long time ago. That's why they act like monsters. And that's why when you see their names in the files and you see what they were talking about, the shit that they were doing in the files, they turned into monsters because they've been compromised. This dude right here has no fucking dignity. And did you see his face? You get zero respect, bro, when money rules you. I can't be around people like that where money makes you. You're flaunting money to shit on people. Oh, I make more money than you. I'm this, I'm that. No, money is a tool. Don't let it ever control you because like he said, that was perfect. Just buys you a better cage. Simple. But look, let's get back into this and it's gonna wake up a lot of people. Happens to y'all all over again. Y'all think it's just fucking entertainment. It's not. We need to get past that. It's not just entertainment. This shit is real.
The shit that people from Cincinnati rent out every time they go to Myrtle Beach.
Viral video of Lady Gaga going around, and it said that her fans were concerned after she was performing looking like this. Now I'm going to warn you, if you have a weak stomach, do not look at these next clips.
When does this just become entertainment?
Yeah, that's Gaga, alright. Gaga has always had ritualistic shows. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the show when she was getting puked on. But let's check that out.
Pick your hero.
Yeah, that was Gaga. Shouldn't be a surprise. This is the same girl who hangs out with Marina Abramovic. Here we go acting like she's drinking blood from a body. And this is what people listen to. Another photo of them out in the wilderness. If you don't think that these people are into rituals, are into black magic, I really don't know what to say to help you. She has full-on chants in her song. And you got people that'll be at her concert just singing along.
Rumor has it you and Gambit tied
Allowing things to enter into their temple.
Because y'all are stupid.
What do you think she's doing?
Nothing you need to worry
If you don't know she's a puppet for the enemy, I don't know what to tell you.
Remy just fine.
One of the many. Hers is just really in the open though. Hers is really in the open. It's like, I don't care. But you know Satanists, they'll do things in the open to show you that they're doing it. Whether it's comical, whether it's satire. It may look like it's not real, but in actuality, behind closed doors, it is as real as it can be. And I pray you start to open your eyes to it. Stop listening to people like this. They're wicked. Completely wicked.
That is not bullshit. True. I'm not crazy. They're full-on vampires. They love the taste of human flesh and they drink human blood.
What kind of food should we have? Like some right here. Let's see. McDonald's hamburgers? And some French fries? Don't they look delicious? And why, they're empty. Say, you sure can get a lot in these bags.
I know it may be passed off as a joke. Watching it now feels strange that children are part of the reveal and not the audience. And then there's a mascot himself. Why a clown? A character a lot of people are genuinely terrified of. So it's odd that something designed for children leaned into that type of imagery. What's interesting is years later, the character was quietly pulled back. Around 2016, the brand distanced itself completely. The clown imagery started unsettling people. We circled back to what is actually in the bag, or actually in the food. Maybe it's nothing, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below.
Cannibalism is not illegal in the United States, with the exception of one state.
What?
The only state in the United States where cannibalism is illegal is the state of Idaho.
Are you kidding?
Cannibalism.
It's not just me by myself. It's, yeah, there's a train and that motherfucker on schedule. Yeah, I can't miss it. Imagine that. I've learned a lot when I'm in doubt, or when there are people who are around that are dream killers, people who don't understand and doubt you and want to use words that discourage you. We can't let them have that.
This is what she said. She said, there's a train and that motherfucker's on schedule. She said this time she can't miss it. What the fuck does that sound like? These fucking celebrities are subliminally telling you that they're getting sacrificed. They're subliminally telling you that they're selling their soul. And one day the devil is going to come and collect that shit. That's what it sounds like to me. What could she be fucking talking about? She looked like she damn near wanted to cry, like her life was over, like it's gonna be over soon. Y'all gotta peep what the fuck is going on. Y'all gotta peep and listen real closely and read between the lines when these celebrities say certain shit. Like Coolio was on live randomly crying one day. He was about to expose some shit, but he never really said what he was trying to expose. And he died the next day. Like, ended up, like, dead. Nobody really knows how fucking Coolio died for real. Y'all gotta peep this shit. They're sacrificing these people. These people are selling their souls, and they know they selling their souls.
These people do rituals to become successful. Like, I don't give a fuck what y'all say.
I had a dream Kai was a clone, bro.
You had a dream Kai was a clone?
Yeah, I had a dream he was a clone, and then Kai was under like a. We were just talking, but like under, and I was going somewhere. And he was underground, like, and he was locked up, like the old him was locked up, like screaming and shit. Or
Kai just texted me and said,
I didn't always love my powers,
my
but now I
network
think
is
they're
off.
great.
I'm in the ocean. I'm on the way to Antarctica.
What an amazing video. A lot to digest, y'all. Y'all know, day after day after day, even with my BBL, I gotta come with that heat, y'all. I'm hurting sitting here. So make sure y'all share these videos with your friends, your families. And best of all, make sure you communicate to them. This right here is not to have anybody in fear. This is just for us to understand what the hell is going on around us. To let y'all know that we do have the power to step in our own energy and not to be compromised. We don't have to sell our souls for money. We don't have to be controlled by money. We control this simulation ourselves. The biggest trick is making us think that we aren't who we are. Making us forget our powers. Making us turn against each other. Selling each other out for money. We've been selling each other out since the beginning of time. There's no amount of money on this planet that can make me sell my soul for y'all. To manipulate y'all.
What are you doing all the way back there?
I'm only doing what is right. They only come after the ones that are weak. They can see your aura. They can see your hunger. They can see your pain before you do. Because they still remember that they're tapped in a certain extent, but they can see your aura. They can see your thirst for success. They can see your thirst to get out of fight or flight. But the money ain't the solution. The solution is coming together as a people, getting this shit up off of us and raising our vibrations. Eating better. Communicating better with each other. Not resorting just to violence straight off the rip. To actually trying to speak to other people and understand what they're going through. That's what we need to be focusing on. Understanding where other people's perspectives is coming from and listen to them and not just write them off right off back. For many years, they've been writing us off, calling us conspiracy theorists. Saying that we fucking retarded. Saying that I've heard the most doing this type of content. And y'all know me, man. I have my face on the internet, plastered on the internet. I've heard the worst stuff about me possible, but it doesn't faze me because I already knew that you're a fucking idiot and you were wrong. If you said that about me. I'm not an idiot. I've had more life experience than you that were speaking down on me like the way that you were. I've seen the things that you've never seen. I was fearless. I stepped in the line of fire when you decided that you wanted to stay home and struggle. I decided that, you know what, I'll struggle somewhere else. And if I do harm somebody, it ain't gonna be the people that's around me. I'll go out protecting my people. But in that sense, it woken me up. I traveled the country. I got how when I went to different continents and different countries, they treated me and how they spoke to me and what they called me. And I started to remember my ancestors telling me who the fuck we were. And these people already knew. I remember seeing statues of my people that they're selling for $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 in other countries. These people wanting to take pictures with me for no fucking reason. These people honoring me in other places around the world. But when I come back here, I'm called a nigga with the ER. And we're stupid. We have low IQs. No, when we built everything fucking here before anybody even got here. That's the real story.
Who do you think you want to be today?
So it's different when I speak from this perspective. I've traveled. I've been out of here. Most of these people are local. Most of these people have never left their city. They never left their state, let alone the country. And if you did, you probably went on a fucking cruise and docked and got back on the boat. My mind is expanded. I have a wealth of experience, and I'm not the one with all of the knowledge. There's many people out here, and those are the same people that you think and you call crazy. There's people that can see through walls. There's people that can walk through walls. There's people that can astral project. This shit is real. And you can too if you stop focusing on what you cannot do. Focus on what you can. Some of us are special in certain points. Some of us are special with making music. Some of us are special with, manipulating our environment to our will. Some of us are special with speaking. Some of us are special with writing. And you're just not tapping into it. Do what comes easy to you and get better and better and better at it and develop something special. That's how you become special. And all of y'all that watch these videos have something special in you that you can tap into. You don't have to do what I'm doing. You don't have to do what your neighbor is doing. What comes to you that is good, that's easy for you to just replicate and do over and over again that nobody else can do. Only you know that. Tap into that. That's why we work as a team together. Everybody has something to bring to the table. That's my message for this video. But look, like I always say, spread love, because there's too much hate in this world. I love you guys. I'll see y'all in the next video. And I'm out though. Bye.
Oh my gosh. I get it.
One.
Despite my name, I am no angel, as our foes will soon learn.
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
Jeffrey Epstein is perhaps the greatest intelligence asset of all time, connected to everything from trafficking, arms deals, and the world's most successful blackmail operation implicating the global elites. And after months of U.S. leaders like Donald Trump, Pam Bondi, and Kash Patel denying the files even existed, the Department of Justice dropped over 3 million supposedly unredacted Epstein files. Today we head to Washington, D.C. to speak with politicians that have seen the raw documents. And we asked them what they've uncovered, how deep does Epstein's operation go, and who are the co-conspirators that we should be investigating further. We also tackle questions of Epstein's substantial connections to Israel, as well as darker conspiracies surrounding an elite satanic cabal. We will also be joined by journalists who have done extensive research on Epstein to plug in the gaps that our politicians may have not had the time to cover or, due to foreign pressure, do not wish to discuss. Let's dive in. We're just outside the White House. There's chaos around here. There's lots of news reporters, protesters. Our greatest ally, Benjamin Netanyahu, just got to town. And right now, the American public is finding out some of the contents of the unredacted Epstein files. And what we're learning is making us sick that some of the most powerful, influential men on the planet and in our country are involved. And they're hiding, they're trying to cover it up, they're trying to act like it's not a big deal. And we have our FBI director lying under oath. We have Pam Bondi saying that there's nothing to be seen here. Howard Lutnick, our Treasury Secretary, says only went to his next door neighbor's house once and never again, but then we see him bringing his kids to an island of a file in Africa. So we're going to be speaking with senators and representatives that have seen the unredacted files and are leading the fight to release them so that we, the public, we, the people, know what is going on with our country. We're a few minutes from the Congressional Building where we'll be having our first meeting of the day. Hello, hello. You just got back from the DOJ. Did you get your hands on unredacted files?
Some, yes. Some files I was looking for today weren't in the database.
Nancy Mace is one of the few Republicans that is using her voice to demand the Epstein files be released.
My heart and my pain is with the Epstein victims and is with every single man, woman, and child who's ever been abused and never gets justice.
And some of the files I looked at were still redacted. So that's a problem. And the excuse that the DOJ gives you is that this is the way the data was provided to them, so it's not their fault. The most important document is a co-conspirator document on investigations into co-conspirators that is still fully redacted. And I want the co-conspirator information. I want to know who was investigated and not charged. I want to know why there were so many plea deals and so many immunity deals only to put one person in jail. This doesn't make sense to me. How do you have thousands of victims and one accomplice?
What does that make you think if you were going there as a congresswoman to the DOJ and it's still redacted?
But this is going to go down as one of the greatest conspiracies, or one of the greatest cover-ups, one of the greatest cover-ups in American history.
And who is responsible for the cover-up?
A lot of people. We're talking about multiple administrations, multiple DOJs, multiple FBIs. This goes back to the Bush era. These are prosecutors, these are solicitors, these are law enforcement agents that are basically letting these guys go free because they have a title or a tiara or a B by their name for a billionaire, or maybe they're rich and famous. I saw lots of names in there, and I'm going to be sending a long list of names to the Oversight Committee asking them to come testify. And I'm not saying those people are criminals. I'm not saying they did anything. I'm just saying I think they have information that would be very valuable to the victims and the American people.
We are on our way to the Department of Justice. We're going to be interviewing a congressman fresh after he sees the redacted files. So I think it's important to get your news from unbiased sources. And that's why the sponsor of today's episode is Straight Arrow News. So if you want to get educated on a variety of topics, you can talk about U.S. news, you can talk about politics, lifestyle, sports. For example, today, the Epstein files are trending big time. And this is where I found the article where Pam Bondi has been trading insults in her 5-hour hearing that she had with them. And she says, and I quote, that there's no evidence that Donald Trump has committed a crime in connection with Jeffrey Epstein. So that's one of the things I'm going to ask this congressperson about. This is why I think it's very important to have a news site where you can quickly become aware and educated of what is happening in the domains that you care about. Folks, I have Straight Arrow News' app on my phone. You should too. It is free, and to be armed with this information is powerful. So click the link, san.com/TommyG, and get it right now on your phone. All right, let's go find out what today says. So we're here in front of the Department of Cover-Ups, one of the Department of Justice buildings, and we're waiting for our congressman to come out and talk about what he's learned. Good to see you, man. How are you? Ro Khanna, alongside Thomas Massie, is the man spearheading the bipartisan push to have the files released. We catch him as he's exiting the DOJ fresh from seeing unredacted documents. Here's what he found out. Tell us about what you saw in there with the access you got.
It was the second time I was there. It's a small cubicle. There are about 4 computers, and you sit in there, you type in the Bates numbers, and then you see the documents. Some of them you get to see the unredacted version. The problem is, a lot of the documents you see, they still have the redactions. And, the question is really, who are they protecting? Why are they covering up some of these men, and why were these files scrubbed in March at the FBI?
Senator Durbin claims his office was told that the FBI was pressured to scrub through volumes of Epstein-related documents and to, quote, flag any mentions of President Trump.
Right now, guys, I think we're in an extreme moral predicament in this country, and I don't care. We need to forget Democrat, Republican, and realize that this is actually something that can unite us, the people back home. I think we all have very common things that we want. We want our government not to be having sex with children and covering up for the people that are. We want affordable housing. We want health care that works for us. We want politicians that tell us the truth.
Clearly, you needed some help.
We're here for an interview with Senator Rubin. Yes, sir. Just this week, we've had unredacted drops start coming out. Did you get the
The current score is 0-1.
Turn that down.
Time to switch things up, including which side you're on.
impression that
You'll need a
guys like
top-notch
Mike
team
Johnson
to
were
win this
trying to
one.
delay this as much as possible.
Yeah.
This is Ruben Gallego, a former Marine and current Arizona senator, and he's one of the key figures from the Senate pushing for the release of the documents, and here is his take on what's unfolding.
We'll give credit where credit is due, right? When the vote actually happened, the Republicans voted for it. But they did everything possible to avoid the vote altogether. And I got into it with little Mike in front of his office because, you know, he was holding up a woman who's a friend of mine, who won her congressional seat and held her up for more than 40-something days, because if she would have gotten sworn in, then she would have signed the discharge petition, which would have forced the vote, right? So he absolutely was covering up for the.
What do you think Speaker Mike Johnson's motivation was for delaying the files?
Because he does not want to get sides with the president. The president knows that there's a lot of dirty shit about him and his friends and all his rich, powerful friends in there. And the best thing he could do is just to avoid it altogether and avoid having the vote. So he would just rather do that than actually deal with the reality that the president, at least knew about the what's happening at Epstein and other places, and a lot of the rich friends that we're now discovering that are also, with Epstein. And those rich friends, by the way, aren't just Democrats and aren't just Republicans. They're like, people that are very powerful and friends with all sides, but they need to be exposed too.
We get taxed too damn much to not demand accountability. I can't even go to take my baby to an emergency room without paying $800 while they are on private pay. All the people that make the laws up here, they're on their own fancy insurance. If you get elected, your job is to serve your country and serve your people to the highest degree. And right now we have all of these people in office that are just unanimously doing what most of us don't want. And I think we have to put our foot down a little bit. I think people have to go to prison. I think there needs to be a heavy wave of public accountability, because I don't know about you, but I don't even recognize the country I'm living in anymore. I believe America is a great place, but it will be much, much better when we get people that actually care about the people in office.
You want merch?
No, buy my merch instead. Actually, that's a good transition. Guys, we have anti-government t-shirts launching. They look like this.
Heaven is on my side.
They look like this. These are badass shirts that help you take a stand against what is happening. Howdy. Hello. How are you? Tommy. This is Eric Swalwell. He's a representative and currently the front runner in the California governor race to take over as Gavin Newsom runs for president. Eric has questioned both Kash Patel and Pam Bondi under oath, and here's what he had to say about that experience. The Epstein files.
Yeah.
I saw you question Kash Patel under oath.
Yeah.
What was that like? What'd you learn?
I mean, world-class bullshitter, 24-karat liar to Congress. And that's what I started Bondi with today, which is I asked Kash, I said, how many times was Trump's name in the files?
It sounds like if you don't know the number, it could at least be 1,000 times. Which
it's not. It's not.
Is it at least 500 times?
No.
Is it at least 100 times?
No.
Then what's the number?
I don't know the number, but it's not that.
Do you think it might be your job to know the number?
My job is to provide for the safety and security of this country.
And it turns out I should have started at like 38,000, right?
Folks, what's said about President Trump in this latest file release is concerning. Representative Ted Lieu said that the files contain allegations of
Donald Trump children. Donald Trump threatening to children.
Centuries for that.
However, Trump has interpreted the release of these files much differently, and when asked about it, he said 3 times within 20 seconds.
I have nothing to hide. I've been exonerated, and I've been totally exonerated, and I've been totally exonerated.
Needless to say, it will be interesting to see whether U.S. presidents mentioned in the files like Clinton and Trump will ever have to submit to further investigation.
I didn't start high enough, and so I just wanted the Attorney General today to understand the reason so many of the survivors were present and pissed is because the last time someone from the Department of Justice came, they were lied to.
A lot of Americans are suspecting that our FBI director lied under oath.
He absolutely lied under oath, and that the punishment for lying is what they are trying to do against all of their enemies. And I'm just saying, just tell us the truth right now.
Do you think it's possible that the director of the FBI, Kash Patel, lied under oath?
I think it's possible.
And what is the punishment for lying under oath?
Well, it's a crime, so punishable with prison time. To say that there's no evidence in those files is just a flat-out lie.
The reason they know they can lie under oath is because they are anticipating this president to give them a pardon.
The universe has a great plan. You are not a part of it.
I guess first of all, let's just clear the air. Did you visit the island?
No.
Okay. This is Mark Kelly, a former NASA astronaut and a current senator from Arizona, and he's on the short list of Democratic candidates who may run for president in 2028. Here's what he had to say about this Epstein drama. A lot of people are coming out in the unredacted files that are still redacted somehow. It appears we have, from the top down, a concerted effort to push this under the rug. Can you describe this from your point of view?
Well, you know, in the unredacted files, right, they unredacted some of the victims' names, so they get thrown out there. The names of co-conspirators, which were supposed to be unredacted, are still redacted. So they couldn't even get this straight. And we now have the ability to go over to DOJ and log on to some kind of computer. They have like 4 terminals for 535 members of Congress.
So they're making this purposely difficult to do.
I think so.
So then the question people have is, who actually committed the crimes?
You named 6 guys recently.
Right.
That should be investigated further.
Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, CEO of Dubai Ports World. Leslie Wexner, who was labeled as a co-conspirator by the FBI.
And there are more names I found today that I'm going to ask if those redactions were appropriate.
Can you speak to how this current administration seems to be covering things up?
Well, I will tell you, it's under the Trump administration that this information is coming out. Biden didn't do it, Obama didn't do it, Bush didn't do it. So I want to give a lot of credit to the president for signing this into law.
Would you put Trump on that list?
No, I would not. I mean, Trump is exonerated in the files. He got rid of Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago. I mean, he called law enforcement, he talked to the FBI, he talked to the police. I mean, he was like the only whistleblower. Back in the early 2000s, I mean, that was Donald Trump.
Yeah, and I think they're keeping people hidden, right? And remember what Kash Patel said a number of years ago that, you know, Donald Trump was only like in there, like, I don't know how many times he said. It was a small number of times. It's in there tens of thousands of times, you know, mentioned.
We just got out of Nancy Mace's office, and she said that, you know, these files have vindicated Trump.
Well, I haven't looked at millions of documents. I don't know how she has.
I believe Donald Trump has a lot of questions to answer about what he knew, what was going on, whether he knew other people who were these girls.
I guess to say that Trump has been forthcoming in this, I feel like I don't know how you can interpret it in that fashion.
Well, he signed it into law. No other president has done that. So I think we have to give credit where credit is due. The documents that I want to see that aren't redacted, supposedly, allegedly, they weren't redacted by the Southern District of New York. That's not Trump that did that, okay? That is SDNY that submitted documents to the DOJ that were redacted. That they supposedly don't have that information.
There's no story here. That's what him and Vance and the whole, and Bondi and Patel were saying for months until this unredacted information hit.
Did someone email 38,000 times Donald Trump after 2019 when he was president? I don't know. But what I do know is that victims like Virginia Giuffre Roberts vindicated Trump, that exonerated him. All of the victims that I have talked to have exonerated the president. Do I think this has been handled perfectly? Absolutely not. I don't think that's his fault. I think there are people that are giving him bad advice.
Is there anything that you saw today? It could be even little information, but anything that you can give the American people an idea of what's really in the unredacted files.
There are a lot of victims' names. I mean, like a lot of the redactions that you see, it's just victim after victim after victim.
Pam Bondi's DOJ leaked the names of hundreds of victims, but kept perpetrators' names redacted. And when asked if she would be investigating any of the actual criminals, she said this with the Epstein victim standing behind her.
I am deeply sorry for what any victim has been through.
She then tried to sidetrack by talking about how great the economy is.
The Dow right now is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader, as I hear, Raskin.
Which is strange because at one point in her career, she was apparently serious about fighting sex trafficking.
Children are enslaved and abused. I knew we needed all hands on deck.
And while she doesn't seem interested in investigating anyone from the list, she does appear to be investigating the search history of every representative looking into the files.
Accusing Attorney General Pam Bondi of spying on their search history within the unredacted Epstein files.
This is Zach Faust, an independent journalist who spent many hours digging into the Epstein files and documenting the web of suspects involved. Here's what he had to say about his research.
Spoke with some politicians about the Epstein files, but I'm finding it a little underwhelming what they're revealing. For example, I asked them about Israeli connections in the files. They said they didn't see any.
The hand of heaven is here.
Well, I think what anybody can see is the amount of people that are connected to the money, the politics, and the power structure that comes out of Israel, Mossad, things like Ehud Barak, who was known to stay at Epstein's residence in Manhattan, which was given to him, that Manhattan residence, by Les Wexner, who was also the funder of and financer of the Mega Group, which was a group of philanthropic, quote unquote, Jewish billionaires that include people like the Ron Lauders and others that are in the Cabinet Association and the banking systems. And it all stems out of this country that came to us in the 40s from a declaration to the Rothschilds.
Tell us about Ron Lauder.
He is the heir of the Estee Lauder fortune, big cosmetic brand. And the Estee Lauder fortune allowed him to make a lot of philanthropic moves. For example, he funds many Jewish and also anti-Semitic foundations like anti-Semitism. He is the president of the World Jewish Congress.
I don't know if this is verified, but I see that he's mentioned at least 1,000 times in the file so far.
The name mentioned, yeah, but a lot of times with the numbers, there are duplicates, right? There are duplications. You can find articles dating back to 2010 when he's being mentioned as one of Bibi's closest associates, Bibi Netanyahu's closest associates, the prime minister, having the defense minister in his house, Epstein, 36 times. So Epstein hosted Ehud Barak in his house 36 different times, verified. And Ehud Barak was the defense minister under Bibi Netanyahu.
So to say the following, there is heavy Israeli involvement, there's heavy elite Jewish involvement. Is that anti-Semitic or factual?
It's not anti-Semitic, because you could get down to the grassroots of what the word anti-Semitism means and the fact that a Palestinian group would be just as Semitic as someone from Israel. But it's not anti-Semitic to look into the depths of the corruption of the Israeli government and their control over our ideology through things like surveillance, yes, but also just mass media ownership.
Every single representative I questioned about the files, including at least one that has an Israel flag in front of his door, said that there is no known Israel connection. Why do you think they said that?
There's just too much involvement in not just these elites and their religion, but also their money.
Man. How you doing, brother? Good to meet you.
Good to meet you.
This is Julian Andrioni. The organization he works for, Dropsite News, has relentlessly covered the Epstein files and the Israeli ties within. Julian is their Capitol Hill reporter, boots on the ground, pressing our politicians for answers. Here's what we learned from him.
To me, I think you and Dropsite News are doing some of the best reporting on the internet right now. You've been covering the Epstein files extensively. If we've talked to representatives and we're not learning anything new that we haven't already seen online.
No? They're not talking to you about it?
No. Is that your experience as well?
I wouldn't say they're teaching us anything new. My boss over at Dropsite, Ryan Grimm, has been writing.
Who's the man, by the way?
He is the man. He's been writing a lot about it, and that's where we're finding out a lot of new stuff. Obviously, the DOJ has vast majority of the documents still redacted, even for members of Congress who've been invited to go read the unredacted versions, and so that's unacceptable pursuant to the Epstein Files Transparency Act. It's illegal, and so they're violating federal law, and I think that people who violate federal law should be prosecuted.
My worry is that a lot of the representatives are going to steer this into a particular bucket. Mostly they're going to make it about Trump or a small group of people, and they're going to miss some of the bigger picture things like the arms dealing, the potential baby sacrifice, the Israeli connections. What should people know about what's really going on in the files?
So I think that your analysis at the beginning there is correct. I think that placing the blame on Trump entirely is convenient for folks who don't want to talk about some of the broader developments regarding intelligence, regarding foreign policy aims. I think that a lot of this was in service of a broader worldview. Folks who think that they can operate a pseudo-state and manipulate intelligence agencies that are supposed to be serving the people of a certain country that duly elect representatives to the halls of Congress, and I think we have the Epstein class and the Davos class sort of manipulating that to serve their own foreign policy aims, and newsflash, but they are not a government, so they cannot do that.
Dropsite News has frequently referred to the people involved in the files as the Davos or Epstein class, and their theory is that Epstein is not merely a CIA or Mossad operative, but actually a level above.
The kind of global elite as kind of organized around that Davos conference, or this Davos crew out there. Right. The CIA, it's more properly understood that CIA works for them. And Jeffrey Epstein was an integral player in that Davos set.
Meaning that Epstein's true purpose transcended the interests of any single one nation. It appears he was an asset used to advance the agendas of a transnational elite, and if this sounds like a conspiracy theory, just look at the files. They contain literal receipts of the Rothschilds hiring Epstein for a $25 million contract.
What about Israeli connections in the
We have covered that.
And how, as you and Dropsite have analyzed these files, are there Israel connections that we should be talking about?
Yes.
I've had DMs calling me hateful and anti-Semitic for connecting Epstein to Israel, but take a look at this. Dropsite news reporting shows that DOJ documents confirm that, quote, security equipment and alarms were installed, as well as specialized surveillance equipment. And tell me in the comments if you think I'm crazy for thinking that Israel might have something to do with the Epstein files.
Jeffrey Epstein was extremely close friends in his personal life with former Prime Minister Ehud Barak. He was using that relationship and using his relationships to other governments to manipulate foreign policy aims that he was interested in. He negotiated a back channel between the Israelis and the Russians during the Syrian civil war in order to install a new government in Syria. That was on behalf of Israel. Negotiated arms transfers to certain countries like the Côte d'Ivoire, Mongolia, Nigeria, other countries in Africa and in that region of the world. I'm not saying necessarily that he was working for Israel.
And is it possible that he was working with a few different intelligence agencies and that he was kind of a broker to the highest bidder or to the best friend?
Yes,
and
that's
he gave
possible.
information. He was not a strictly Mossad operator.
No.
Let's talk about the Israelis. I think a lot of young people are really interested in the Israeli angle to this. Can you speak more about that?
We just have no information that's why we need to go through the classified information in terms of what his connection was to our government's intelligence or foreign government intelligence. But unless you go and actually see those classified documents, there's no way of knowing. And only a president can order someone to do it. And I think that there are unanswered questions, and they should get the truth out there.
A big question a lot of Americans have is conspiracy theories that we thought were so far out. Pizzagate, satanic rituals. Yeah. It seems like if you read some of these files, that these are possible theories to investigate now. What have you seen directly looking at these files?
Oh, look, I think some of those conspiracy theories are not true. What I can tell you is, through the files, is that there is clear evidence that Jeffrey Epstein raped underage girls. There's clear evidence that other people were involved in the rape of underage girls. And there's clear evidence that a lot of our nation's elite and global elite showed up to these islands and the ranch knowing that underage girls were being paraded naked or being raped. And you don't have to buy into conspiracy theories, which are not, in my view, true, to believe the fundamental point here, which is that there are 1,200 survivors who were denied justice, were treated as disposable, and the country's elite look the other way.
Is there anything new that you learned in the last hour or so, even the littlest tidbit that you can break to the American people?
One email is about Epstein was dressing up as Jesus because while he was raping or committing assault on these underage girls. And it's just a level of sadism that is incomprehensible.
I guess in the category of people that are either should be investigated or what they were doing. Is it satanic rituals? Are they sacrificing babies?
I didn't see any of the satanic stuff. The shrimp, the pizza, the grape soda, a lot of those emails, it just wasn't what you thought it was. And some of the emails about a 10-year-old or an 11-year-old was a female, I believe. I couldn't see the attachment. Presumably it was their child, right? They were sending a convicted pedophile a picture of their kid. I don't know why that is. I haven't seen any conspiracy theories that are true.
Anything
not
more
yet. I'm not saying it's not there. I'm just saying it's not yet.
Can it be possible? I hope it's not. But at this point, we have to investigate everything. And we also have to investigate whether, legitimately, if Epstein was, killed by the government to cover up for, all these rich men. Because there's a lot of questions, I think, that legitimately we should be asking right now.
After you've seen some of these files, do you think these have possibilities?
Yes, you don't talk about jerky and pizza and cheese and soda pop. Like, I've been to a couple multimillionaires' houses, one billionaire's house. They don't eat anything that isn't like organic, pre-prepared by some person who's catering or a chef. They have a waiter walking around. There's people walking around with glasses of things. I was at a party where there was a line of IVs of like multivitamins. People were plugging into themselves. Like, they take health and longevity extremely seriously. They're not eating Domino's.
Folks, as we dig into the files, let's break down the code words used throughout. Innocent sounding food references have a darker significance. For example, pizza means little girl, pasta means little boy. Another word used frequently is goyim, meaning non-Jew. Epstein and his network often mock how goyims have to do lower class things like work to make money or wait in lines, and they express a desire to be in goyim-free gatherings. Now, these revelations are breathing life into the once dismissed Pizzagate conspiracy.
Is it outrageous to say that there are baby sacrifices, satanic rituals being conducted?
It is absolutely outrageous.
I would
to
say,
but is it false?
Wolverine. No, not Wolverine.
I would verge on the side of saying no, it's not false, but it is outrageous to say. It's pretty well documented that there is some sick shit happening.
And you think it should be under investigation whether people were killing children and eating babies?
Yes, but it won't be. Not in my opinion.
I mean, a lot of Americans are afraid that no one is going to get in trouble. That's what it feels like right now.
No one, let me tell you right now, let me be very straight. No one is going to get in trouble. Nobody is going to go to jail. I promise you, nothing's going to happen. And that in their lies is the problem, which is why we need the Epstein victims to be louder than they've ever been before. And we need to just shove it in the faces of people in power in the federal government until they do something and until laws are changed.
I want to circle back to what you just said. You said pretty confidently that you think no one will get in trouble. And
I don't
no
think
one
anybody's going to go to trouble.
Why do you think
anyone's going to jail? Because I have no confidence in the justice system. We have a two-tiered system of justice in America. We have one for the rich and powerful. We have one for everybody else. Nobody's going to jail.
It's personal for me because I met these survivors. I get survivors texting me saying, giving me names of people who I should be sending to justice, that they should be investigated. If you really believe in this, you should at least call for Howard Lutnick to step down.
Howard Lutnick, our Commerce Secretary, whose sons are facing allegations of profiting big time off the very tariffs their dad helped create, the guy who just got caught lying about his ties to Jeffrey Epstein, and the same man who eventually had to admit he didn't just go to Jeffrey Epstein's island, but he brought his kids there. Yeah, this guy might need some further investigation.
How can you have someone like that be our representative for business to the world?
Do you think anyone else will get charged?
Yeah, I think so eventually.
So you're confident that more people will be brought to justice?
I'm not sure it's going to be anytime soon because, I mean, what this feels like to me is still a cover-up. But at some point, this president is gone. There's a new administration, and we should have an administration that's going to provide some needed accountability for all these women. They deserve justice.
Do you think the American people are going to let this slide?
I thought he was dead.
You're gonna put me on camera answering that. I don't want this used in my deposition. I think there is gonna be a point where the American people reach a break. I think it's the very reason the Second Amendment exists, is to fight against a tyrannical government. Am I wrong?
Bro, I know you gotta head out to a vote. I wanna leave you with this. First of all, the American people are rooting for you, cheering for what you're doing. Very big fan of that. We will not rest until justice is brought to somebody.
Thank you for what you're doing
and
exposing this. And thank you
keep
for
fighting the good fight.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
I think we need to take action in the ballot box. We need to take action with how we fundraise for people. I'm not giving a single vote to anybody that protects the files. I'm not giving a single vote to anyone that funds Israel. There's just these fundamental rifts that if a politician does X, Y, Z, we do not support them and they lose a job. And that's the weapon that we have is our dollars. I think we maybe should consider not paying taxes, but we do have a voice here. We have a role to play, and we got to step up and play it because this is our country that depends on it.
Folks, 3 quick things before you go. Number 1, to realize that only 2% of the files are out there right now. So imagine how angry you are right now. Imagine when we see the 98% of footage, video, files, emails, documents that are so heinous. I mean, if this is what they're showing us, imagine what is really out there. And to think 1999 to 2003 supposedly kept away from us, wonder if that has anything to do with 9/11. We'll have to see. Number 2, I am happy to join in the movement of not paying taxes. I will withhold my first quarter tax payment entertainment of this year. And hopefully this movement has momentum so that we can leverage the change we want within our government. And number 3, we dropped an anti-government t-shirt collection on the site, TommyGMcGee.com. Custom art, high quality t-shirts, something that I think encapsulates how we all feel right now about our government. Appreciate you guys. See you next week. Peace.
You got paid at night. Honestly, with the light bill, that light
The FBI has had enough. And right now, with the State of the Union having just concluded, they are making sure that Donald Trump is exposed, they are making sure that Kash Patel is exposed, and they are making sure that this entire despicable regime is exposed. I believe there's a lot of FBI whistleblowers right now who are also working with Democrats on the House Oversight Committee to expose the Trump regime's cover-up of the Epstein files, their cover-up of the child sex trafficking ring. That's why we're seeing a lot of headlines like this right now. Just look at the front page of Drudge. It is not coincidental that this is taking place right as the State of the Union was happening. Paper bombshell. Epstein secret files in storage units across the USA. TikTok, Donald. The DOJ scrubs Trump from evidence. 53 missing pages from an accuser of Donald Trump who was alleging or is alleging that when she was a minor, she was sexually assaulted by Donald Trump. The Dems are launching a probe of all of this, and we're hearing from Democratic Congress members like Garcia that they are in contact with whistleblowers from the FBI who are giving them a lot of important information as well. Now, want to highlight a few additional facts here. So we're also hearing from FBI leaks regarding Kash Patel's despicable behavior. So they're leaking against Donald Trump and Bondi. They are leaking against Kash Patel. Here's one. There was 2 back-to-back stories on this. So number 1, Kash Patel flights. One of the things that we are hearing about is agents with the FBI's Elite Evidence Response Team were delayed in reaching the scene of a mass shooting at Brown University. Remember when that took place in December because there was no FBI plane available. Kash Patel was in South Florida living it up at the time with one of the FBI's 2 available jets. Here's what Senator Dick Durbin has said. Whistleblowers within the FBI have revealed in the immediate aftermath of the murder of Charlie Kirk, the FBI's shooting reconstruction team was asked to fly to Utah to aid the investigation and process the scene. However, the team's deployment was delayed by at least a day because, guess what? The Bureau plane and pilot shortage caused by Kash Patel's private flights. Durbin also says that Kash Patel misplaced priorities and poor management of the FBI's resources, including its aircraft, harmed the FBI's ability to respond to that shooting at Brown University on December 13th, 2025. Durbin says a source revealed Kash Patel previously said at an FBI field office meeting, if you have golf, hockey, fishing, or hunting in beautiful sites, you're going to see a lot of me. And so Kash Patel was bragging about using our taxpayer money so that he can gallivant around the country on these private jets. Here's how MS Now is reporting it as well. Again, he was in South Florida when one of the FBI's 2 available jets were not able to be used because they were flying him around during that mass shooting at Brown University. And Kash Patel saying, I dispute this allegation. I dispute this allegation. By the way, what is Dan Bongino doing? Remember the number 2 at the FBI, the deputy FBI director? So what's he saying right now? He's doing podcasts now because he is out. And you know that he knows where a lot of these bodies are buried from the Epstein files. And he's been spending his time cursing out Candace Owens. And so, I mean, you'll just see the panic on these people's faces. I mean, aren't you both like right-wing podcasters? And you'll hear them go, F you. There's harsh language here, but I just want you to see what the former deputy FBI director is doing right now. Here, play this clip.
Fuck you.
fuck you. Go fuck yourself. You demonic fucking scum.
No rest from the eternal struggle.
So Donald Trump's own FBI leaking against him finally because they see all of the destruction that Donald Trump and his despicable regime are causing. I want to bring in right now the former head of the FBI field office. Can we bring him in? David Sundberg. So he led that Washington field office since 2023. He was pushed out by the Trump regime. In 2002, he joined the FBI. He rose through the ranks. He's formerly Air Force, former law enforcement. He's actually running for Congress in Maryland as well. Here's an interview I did with him because I want to get the perspective of this guy was the top guy, the top FBI official in Washington, D.C. He ran the field office. 1,600 agents and other staff reported to him. Half of them were agents reported to this guy. So let's bring in Dave Sundberg. It's great to see you. Dave's also running for Maryland's 5th Congressional District. You entered the FBI 2002. Before that, you were Air Force. Not a political guy at all. Never thought that you'd actually be really running for office. But, you know, as I've said to a lot of people that have dealt with this Trump regime, I wasn't a political guy really at all until I was a lawyer, you know, until politics hit me. And I was like, I got to do something, you know, about what's going on. So we've got a lot to discuss, Dave, especially as thousands of FBI agents are either being forced out or quitting, and they just can't handle these conditions there. So I just want to get your first reaction when people were, but just so people know too, the field office in DC has about 1,000 people there. Half of them are agents. So when you're the leader of that field office, you're supervising a huge amount of people that are at that office. So talk to us though. When you see that behavior, Kash Patel chugging the beer, the spokesperson saying he's not going to the Olympics, you know, to me, the FU to the American people, Trump calling and mocking the women's hockey team. What was going through your mind?
Well, thank you very much. And I really appreciate the opportunity to be on. Let me start by congratulating both the men's and women's U.S. Olympic hockey teams for incredible gold medal wins. And frankly, my thanks, and I think all Americans' thanks to all of our athletes who, in a difficult circumstance, went to represent our nation at the Olympics, which is such a tremendous tradition for us. And they're at the peak of their athletic careers, and I compliment every single one of them. I think there are two things that I see when I see those videos and what's happening, and frankly, the first is I'm embarrassed for the FBI, and the second is really that it doesn't appear to be new. I'm not surprised to see something like this again. The FBI I was in kind of lived under a golden rule of not embarrassing the agency. And I think that's important for a number of reasons, and especially important when you talk about the senior leaders of an organization such as the FBI or any of our government agencies that carry such heavy responsibilities. And that is that people watch what you do all the time. I learned that lesson as I came up through the FBI. As you mentioned, you know, I started in the Air Force, and then I was a local police officer and detective before joining the FBI, where I spent more than 2 decades before taking over as the head of the Washington field office, where we worked some tremendously important cases. And I knew every day that all of the employees of the FBI, and frankly the public, were watching how I conducted myself and what I did. And fairly, they were also watching the things I didn't do, what I wasn't attending to, or what I didn't think was important. And that matters because the reason the FBI is able to accomplish this mission is because it has the trust of the American people. And we may be losing that trust. It is very important at the end of the day for an FBI agent to be successful, to be able to get victims or witnesses to talk to him or her with honesty in times that may be really risky for those people. And they've got to trust that this FBI agent they're going to talk to, who, you know, could be out canvassing a neighborhood, doing interviews to find the kidnapper of Nancy Guthrie, or could very importantly be working a case we should have in broad, under open conditions, working with the state to investigate the use of force by ICE agents that led to the deaths of Renee Good and Alex Preddy. To do those interviews, people need to trust the FBI agent they're talking to. And now every FBI agent who goes out into our country to do the job on behalf of the people starts that conversation with the American public having watched the FBI director, as you described, in a locker room spraying beer. That's not how we want to start those conversations.
And with the exodus of, maybe 1,000 or more, agents and even probably more staffers, and the purge by the Trump regime of senior executives like yourselves and others who have built this institutional experience on very, on the highest risks to our country. For our audience, can you describe just how dangerous is it right now? I mean, in terms of what's not being investigated with the brain drain that's occurred. How do you describe it? How do you see what's existing right now at that agency?
Yeah, it's tremendously challenging to accomplish the mission right now for a number of reasons. And, some of those are where we are putting the agents and analysts and their efforts and what work they're doing. The FBI has traditionally not worked immigration matters outside of its own cases. And when we push FBI agents to do that work, or in the case of Washington, D.C., to have agents walking the streets as if they're, part of the Metropolitan Police Department, immediately, even outside of those roles, we're taking them away from the things that they should be working on because only the FBI can work on them in such a capacity. Those are terrorism cases that are not getting as much attention. Those are cyber cases that could be national security cases, or they could be criminal cyber cases in which Americans are being defrauded of tremendous amounts of money. They could be complex healthcare fraud investigations or espionage cases, and just putting the human capacity of the FBI on other projects that are not traditionally FBI priorities, and certainly we have other agencies that are supposed to attend to them. That by itself takes away from the attention we can give an already strapped FBI to conduct its national security mission and to work these really significant criminal cases on behalf of the American people. Additionally, by putting them in that position, we continue to detract from the public trust in the agency. And as I said, the trust of the public is essential in accomplishing the mission of the FBI. Our government works at the consent of the people, and law enforcement at any level, and I've worked at local levels and at federal levels, we are unable to provide good policing and good national security if we lose the trust of the communities we work in.
And look, we'll talk about your congressional race right now and why you stepped in, to run for the 5th Congressional District. It's a very crowded primary there. So I want to talk in a bit about what do you think separates you from some of the Democratic primaries. For everybody knows, that's Steny Hoyer's seat that he's had before I was born. I think he had that seat in 1980 and he announced his resignation soon. It's Maryland's 5th. But, to me, when I'm watching, when I'm seeing the FBI behavior, in many ways, I think the hard part for us all is what we're watching is so clownish. It's so juvenile. It's surreal. It doesn't feel like this could even be a real thing. It's like we're living a simulation and a parody because, look, you're a serious dude. When I think about FBI agents, I think about real serious people who go in every day, and every microsecond of the day is done with intentionality and purpose, and even the smallest aberration from the mission, could be viewed with discipline. And, you know, that's what I think about the FBI. And then I see, you know, this craziness out there, and I almost don't have the language to be like, what the F is this? What the F is this all? And I think that's also why you decided to run, because it is like a what the F is going on with our country? Like it's ridiculous, and it's authoritarian, but it's also weird and strange and demented. And I'm like, what, you know, I grew up with value, you know, your word is important. You keep your contracts, you do things. These people, it's just craziness that's out there.
Yes, agreed. And that's really challenging for people in government, not just in the FBI. I mean, there are so many federal employees who are doing their best to do the job they signed up to do. And they signed up for a reason. I mean, I used to tell the people working with me in the FBI that we all signed up for the same reason. It didn't matter if you were an FBI agent, you were an analyst, you were a linguist, you were an attorney, a professional staff. It didn't matter. We're all there to accomplish a mission. We needed to do that together. And it is a very, very tough place to work. It is full of really great people who, you know, took federal civil service jobs in order to fulfill a service obligation to what they consider to be the most important thing that they can do. And so why am I running? I'm running, frankly, because I've decided that being angry is not enough.
The final 10 seconds, I'll be mine.
Bottom of the moon all of a sudden. For my entire life, the crescents have always been on the side. So unless we had a 90-degree pole shift, we need answers, because the moon should never look like the Amazon logo.
There's another good synchronicity that somebody told me about, which kind of blew my mind. There was this record
which side you're
released
on.
in July 2000.
You'll need a top-notch team to win this one.
Button 2, sub up, join the family. This is the most lit and active community on YouTube, period. With that being said, guys, let's hop straight into the video. The real elephant in the room is the crescent being at the bottom of the moon all of a sudden. For my entire life, the crescents have always been on the side. So unless we had a 90-degree pole shift, we need answers, because the moon should never look like the Amazon logo.
There's another good synchronicity that somebody told me about, which kind of blew my mind. There was this record that was released in July 2001 by a group called, you're not going to believe this, I Am the World Trade Center. There's a group called I Am the World Trade Center, and on an album which was called Out of the Loop, you can see, go down the track list on Discogs. If you look at the 11th track on the CD, it's called September. Right there, you've got the name of the place and you've got the date, all encoded on the album, which was released in July 2001.
There's just no limit to my fascination with those syncs between pop culture and real-world events.
They don't even hide the truth in plain sight anymore. They just straight up telling us that band name alone says everything.
A strange humanoid figure dug up during renovation work in what used to be a church graveyard. According to the OP, the discovery was made on their parents' property, a converted church now undergoing renovation. Workers uncovered the unsettling figure buried in the ground near the yard. Its appearance immediately sparked debate across Reddit. Some suggested it could be an old folk art effigy, perhaps made by someone centuries ago as part of a ritual or warding charm meant to protect the church grounds. Others believe it could be a mummified figure or a relic created during one of the many reconstructions the site has undergone over the years.
They probably shouldn't be holding it if they don't know what it is, because for all they know, it could be a 14th century voodoo doll, and they out here playing with it like it's a G.I. Joe.
Holy hell, guys, we have just got the first images of not Prince Andrew after he was released from police custody, being questioned for about 12 hours straight. And what the did they tell him in there? Because brother looks shook to his core. I genuinely thought that this was AI when I first saw this image, but no, it is completely real. And to make matters even crazier, they arrested him on his 66th birthday, and he has now become the first British royal to be arrested by police in nearly 400 years. We are living through history every day this year. Now, he remains under investigation for his ties with Jeffrey Epstein, so when we have an update on what happens to him next, I'll let you guys know.
If he looks like this after questioning, then he's not gonna make it a day in jail. That's the look of a person who just realized he's about to go from eating champagne and caviar every day to bologna sandwiches and chocolate milk. I can clearly make out 4 legs and a tail, so it could be like a mountain lion or a wolf or something like that, but the body looks extremely humanoid, so it might be a Texas stilt walker.
I got a crazy conspiracy for you, TikTok, but keep in mind this is just for entertainment purposes. I don't know what the f I'm talking about. So I'm pretty sure that there is a portal of hell behind the H in the Hollywood sign. So I'm going down the Epstein Files rabbit hole, and I keep coming back to the satanic portal. And then I remembered that Dr. Evil's lair was behind the Hollywood sign. And then it clicked to me that in Percy Jackson, that little portal to hell was behind the H in the Hollywood sign. And then I remembered Wizards of Waverly Place. And in the episode called Dancing with the Angels, funny enough, the portal to this little hell world was behind the H in the Hollywood sign. And what's crazy is that in each one of these movies and TV shows, behind the Hollywood sign is somebody evil. Like this guy right here hijacked the moral compass so that he could influence everybody in the world to make bad decisions. Now ain't that just like Hollywood? Don't they sit there and brainwash us through the movies, music, and TV shows to get us to do whatever they want us to? And then in Percy Jackson, they literally went to hell. They literally went to Hades through the portal in the Hollywood sign. And then what's really crazy is when you factor in that some 200 angels were cast out of heaven, and that Los Angeles means the city of angels. You picking up what I'm putting down?
I believe the mainstream media reveals secrets like this in movies and TVs and commercials, etc. So they might be trying to tell us something. There could be 2 portals to hell in LA, one behind the Hollywood sign and one in Diddy's basement.
But you have Don Pettit. He was showing off drinking out of a bag. And I thought, man, it does kind of look like he's drinking liquid out of a plastic bag. But as they're leaving, you see the bag floating away and the coffee just shoots out of it. Teleports outside the plastic. The plastic is still there. And lots of people, including me, were sharing this, and everyone was saying, it's a signal loss, man. Can't you just understand that when signal is lost, it's traveling from space, objects can teleport like that? And I'm like, you know what? I would try to give you the benefit of the doubt, but I know that anytime I've ever seen signal loss, I have never seen something teleport like that. That would be equivalent to someone driving down the road and you're recording them, sending a signal somewhere. Let's say you're using Zoom or Skype or whatever, or Messenger. You lose signal, the person is not going to then shoot out of their car and disappear from inside the car while the car stays there and their body is completely outside. That is what we're seeing with this NASA FEL. And they're not the only ones that have these types of blunders, but they had them quite often. Now they're getting better. Of course, technology is improving, and they've had years and years to practice this.
It very well could just be signal loss, but in my opinion, it kind of looks like a missed edit. And if so, I don't know what software they're using, but with how many of these they let slip through, you would think they were using a free version of CapCut.
If you had a neighborhood where you had call it unlimited resources, so every house had security guards, and then if that neighborhood had an HOA with, call it private security, and those private security were also sort of around and knew everything. Like what world is?
Can I just ask you a question about that neighborhood specifically? Do you ever stop and consider that that neighborhood might suck? You probably saw this ad during the Super Bowl a couple weekends ago.
One post of a dog's photo in the Ring app starts outdoor cameras looking for a match. Search Party from Ring uses AI to help families find lost dogs.
Since it aired for a massive audience at the Super Bowl, Ring's Search Party commercial has become a lightning rod for controversy. I mean, you know it's bad when Matt Nelson, who runs We Rate Dogs, is posting things like this.
Neither Ring's products nor business model are built around finding lost pets, but rather creating a lucrative mass surveillance network by turning private homes into surveillance outposts and well-meaning neighbors into informants for ICE and other government agencies.
As it happens, Ring's founder, Jamie Siminoff, was just on Decoder a few months ago, talking about how and why he founded the company, and in detail about why he sees Ring's mission as eliminating crime, not selling cameras or doorbells or floodlights or anything else Ring makes, but getting rid of crime.
It feels like all of these tech CEOs are trying to justify bringing about the surveillance state with some noble cause like eliminating crime, when all we wanted was a doorbell camera, and he out here thinking he's Bruce Wayne.
So kurwa jakieś jaja, no nie? Ludzie, tu nikogo nie ma. Ja się zawróciłem, żeby to nagrać. Nic. To się ciągle buja. Nawet nie zwalnia. Czy jestem właśnie świadkiem jakiejś anomalii? Czy naprawdę nikogo nie ma na całym tym pastwisku? Nie ma nikogo, kto mógłby to robić. To jest po prostu długa deska.
This was actually sent to me by a member of the community from the Netherlands. While he was out making a delivery for work, he saw this fence moving, and then when he was coming back from the delivery, it was still moving. It sounds windy in the clip, so it could be that, but I feel like the wind would have to be super strong and sustained for it to still be shaking. In my opinion, it kind of seems like something might be going on underground, or there's a frequency being broadcasted nearby. Let me know what you guys think about this one.
Protect my sister at any cost. Woe to those who stand in my way.
I've never seen that before.
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
Being observed by who? By who?
I don't think I've ever seen this happen before. He must have been searching up something diabolical to trigger this. Now he got Palantir watching him.
So I haven't made this video since the spring. We got 10 inches of snow and 3 inches of ice, and the pool turned green. So now I'm going to put some metal reducer in the pool and see if that helps.
I don't think I could handle the pressure for breakfast.
2 minutes after I put the metal reducer in the pool. Here's what 5 minutes looks like. After 10 minutes, it looks like this. Why? Why are they spraying metal in the air? What benefit other than geoengineering the weather is there to the people of America? How long are we going to let them continue?
I feel like weather modification primarily benefits corporate farms by allowing them to spend less on irrigation. And if we know anything about America, corporations mean a lot more to the government than we do. So if it comes down between our health or corporate profits, you know who they choose. And the only thing we can do is fight back with our wallets.
Gilan? Do I know you? You know Gilan?
No, sorry.
No? I used to order Hello Pizza off of her.
Oh, really?
She always delivered, yeah.
Oh,
And there's already been 0 indictments in America coming from these Epstein files as is. So if Ghislaine Maxwell, the only person that's been convicted, is somehow out and about, then hide your kids and hide your wife. Mainly your kids.
What you're seeing right next to me here is a screenshot from a video I took of a vampiric spirit that has haunted my family for at least 5 generations. I personally have captured it on video multiple times. I have writings about it from my ancestors going back, like I said, 5 generations. This is the clearest image I have gotten of it. I will go ahead and zoom in so you can see it a little better. Now, when I first posted the video, I had a lot of people tell me, oh no, that's a gray alien. And I appreciate people who want to help and give perspective, but please understand that I saw it with my own eyes. This was what my camera was able to capture. You can see here, not just the large bat-like ears on the side of its head, but what looks like a large dark eye is actually just, kind of a sunken in, almost concave eye socket. Deep set, you can see the cheekbones. You can almost see kind of the maw of the mouth, which was much more animalistic and monstrous. It is wearing what looks like a 17th or 18th century style coat. You can see the embroidery here going down the center of both sides of where the coat opens. You can see even a little bit on the sleeves on the end around the wrists, and you can see where the collar comes up around the neck and cuts off just under the head. Definitely the most striking thing that I've encountered here. But if you've been following, you know I've encountered a lot of very incredible things. It does bear a resemblance to an Orlok Nosferatu kind of vampire, and there's a good reason for that. According to those ancestral writings, this is the form some vampires would take when ascending to the status of elder, as seen in these photographs from the Oldry family bestiary and Harold Oldry Jr.'s Book of Vampires. The Oldrys hunted vampires and other creatures for multiple generations, and based on their work, I believe Albin Grau, the man who designed Count Orlok, had seen an elder in his life, or received a very intricate description of one. Now, this is just one of several entities that is contained here and diminished here. There's this vampiric spirit, there's demonic entities, there's other things that might be just considered things like poltergeist or even ghosts. If you're not familiar with my page, I really recommend you check it out. I've gone into an incredible amount of detail about all of it. I do know for a fact, for instance, that this vampire's name in life was Horst Lindstrom. I've actually already made several videos going into detail about him. You can check that out along with all the rest on my page. Here are some screenshots of another entity I've captured recently on video. You can see more about that on my page, and maybe I'll post another video soon.
If this is real, I want to know where he lives, where he's seeing entities and vampires walking around his house, Transylvania.
What the f is that? What the absolute f am I looking at right now? What the? Holy.
You okay?
No, dude. What is that, chat?
Let me go to your stream.
Your goddess is
What the-
suffering!
Oh my god, I think it's the end. I think it's the end. I've never seen that in my life. Oh my god. What, bro, what the is that?
Oh my gosh.
What? I don't know. They're too far apart to be planes.
Heaven is on my side!
Oh my god. Dude, chat, I think those are aliens. Why are they like that? Like, they would never, no plane would be lined like that.
These could be drones, but I'm pretty sure drones are required by the FAA to have blinking indicator lights. So these are either 3 orbs in formation or a TR-3B.
Have you heard of the headless men known as Blemmyes? These creatures were first mentioned by Herodotus in the book Histories, written in 430 BC. Most of ancient history taught in Western academia is based on this literature. In this book, Herodotus speaks of a land in the western region of Libya. This land was inhabited by huge snakes, dog-headed men, wild men, and then men with their eyes and their mouth in their breast. The Blemmyes are also mentioned in the Indian epic Ramayana. The demon Kamada is depicted as one of these creatures. The Chinese god Qing Shen is described as having no head, with his nipples as eyes and his belly button as a mouth. There are even paintings of Alexander the Great encountering these creatures with his army. In one of the stories, he captures 30 of them to show to the rest of the world. These creatures have been mentioned in Africa, Asia, and even South America, and are all described exactly the same. These creatures are either metaphorical or actually existed. If they did exist, they were most likely the result of genetic deformity. The third explanation is that they were an ancient genetic experiment. God sent the flood to wipe out giants as well as strange flesh. Maybe these creatures are what strange flesh refers to. Just imagine stumbling on one of these creatures.
I feel like whenever there's multiple civilizations depicting the same thing across different time periods, it's probably real, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're still around, because that first picture he showed looked exactly like Ellen DeGeneres.
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready. Hey, man.
I feel like this squirrel was definitely a human in his past life, because he was staring at that house like the HOA president staring at somebody's house who haven't cut the grass.
It's a strange small object that we just flew by, a small silver canister. Do you know what that could be?
49er Kilo, we've had no reports in that area. What altitude and direction is the heading?
It appears to be standing still. I'm at 3,500 feet. It was right off our wingtip. Small silver canister.
Roger, thanks. Do you think it's a drone or is it like a balloon type?
I saw nothing attached to it. It was sort of hovering there. It was astonishing. I don't know what it was.
Creepy.
I want to believe.
Kronos 402, contact approach on 125.75.
25.75, Kronos 402. Good luck with the alien.
You can tell this air traffic controller just wants to hurry up and finish his shift and go home for the day, because this pilot just reported a legit UFO sighting and he didn't even jot it down in a notebook. He just wished him luck and sent him on his merry way. I feel like it might just be some sort of vertical drone, just based on the fact that nobody else in the road stopped to look at it. Because I know if I saw a real UFO floating across the street, I'm stopping.
2 alien skeletal remains have allegedly been recovered under a church in Mexico, right? 2 bodies right here that you're seeing right now. Absolutely incredible. This was on News Nation with Chad Rubichel, who is a United States Marine Corps veteran, and with the TAD Recovery CEO, T.W. Mock, talking about the process, what happened, how they recovered these things, and what they found. The 2 skeletal bodies, and allegedly a carving as well, depicting these 2 beings with spears, the ones that are referenced, and these are dating back to around the 1600s. Now, there is talks that they are alluding to that a lot of these churches are also spiritual sites, things of that nature, have been built on top of crash sites or things related to the UFO extraterrestrial phenomena, right? Now, allegedly, 13 operatives reportedly died while attempting a recovery prior to the 2 guys finally recovering these remains that we're seeing here. Check this out. It is incredible.
Okay, so we've got an image that we've put up here of what appear to be 2 skeletal remains. They're clearly not human. If we believe what you've been told about these remains, they date right back to the 1600s.
Correct.
Talk me through what we're looking at here. They appear to be non-human. Talk me through what you're looking at.
I'll move back to the original carving stone. That was one of the first objects that was identified. And that particular stone had a reference of 2 skeletal looking beings, and one was stabbing the other on this stone. And then that stone was actually date stamped back in the 1632-34 range. Then that leads me to the skeletal remains that were found secondarily. And then you put that, and I go back to this because it was carved in stone. It resembles the artifacts that I found as skeletal remains, and then subsequently, anyway, I was trying to process all of the information as it came together, and subsequently that led me to a place of saying, well, this isn't us, this isn't human.
If these skeletons are real, then they could belong to some sort of extinct bipedal ape, but looking at the eye placement and the small nostrils, these might be humanoid lizards.
So a lot of people in my comments have
always been talking about Black Panthers, and I've done an episode over Black Panthers before on the podcast. But someone sent me a video, and I want y'all to tell me, because that I'm gonna slow it down and everything, but that looks like no doubt a Black Panther. Like, it's chasing 4 deer. He gets it while he's driving down the road, and I'm gonna tag him in the caption. Dalton, or it's a 405 Dalton, out of Shawnee, Oklahoma. See about it. That's very interesting. Is the tail? Like I said, the tail is always very interesting. It's longer in the way that it's running too, and also too, they don't really give out a lot of bursts. The big cats are not really, besides the cheetah, they're not chasing. They're preying upon, and then they're pouncing. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and it's crazy out here in Oklahoma.
If you guys remember those Tiger King documentaries on Netflix from a few years back, I'm pretty sure Joe Exotic's Wildlife Park is in Oklahoma, so this could be one of his Black Panthers on the loose looking for Carol Baskin. I'm not sure if they live near an airbase or not, but it kind of sounds like it could be a fighter jet that you just can't see because of the overcast cloud conditions.
Now, I know I said, look at the race grades on it. I know I said I don't like big wings, but like, come on. Come on. They ain't even let it finish growing yet. Just gonna pluck this out. This is crazy. I like it though.
I don't know where she got this from, but she might want to go back and take a look in the kitchen, because this don't look like a chicken drumstick. This is like a fried parrot leg. But that was the video, guys. Don't forget to sub up, hit that hype button if you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you in the next one.
Who do you think you want to be today? Now, who am I gonna banish from this match?
In 2016, a young man in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho fires 6 .45 ACP rounds into his pastor, who he is adamant is a reptilian alien in disguise, before jumping on a plane, flying cross-country only to be arrested at the White House. The pastor miraculously survives. Even a point-blank shot to the head, not enough to take him down. In 1982, a check bounces, so a shipping company sends a truck to repossess their cargo container. The container was so heavy, lifting it onto the truck snaps the winch. A worker is sent in to see what cargo is causing this container to be so heavy, only to find approximately 16,500 dead baby fetuses inside. In 2019, a couple in Wales begins to hear faint screams emanating from the walls and floor of the basement of their flat. Audio equipment reveals blood-curdling screams and desperate cries for help. The couple records hours of audio, capturing extremely disturbing evidence of something horrifying happening under their feet. They are ignored by law enforcement and made out for fools in the media. But a local conspiracy begins to close in on the couple, causing them to flee their home, never to return. Every once in a while, I find a case that seems like the tip of a colossal iceberg. Events, deaths, and mysteries so confounding, it begins to feel as though the veil has been pierced, and the whole world is about to be exposed to some horrific truth. Then, they're just gone. A blip on the radar and then nothing. It's as if the details you remember never existed, and the write-ups that remain, if any remain at all, lean towards complete skepticism or disbelief in general. In my experience, those cases don't just disappear. They're They're suppressed, hidden, and buried. These are 3 such cases I refuse to allow to become memory hold.
But I was born of Asgard.
Ooh, so you know Thor then? He and I go way back. We're totally battle bros.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What we need to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
This is you.
On Tuesday, March 8th, 2016, tourists taking photos of the White House saw a young man tossing something over the black iron fence surrounding the historic building. Secret Service agents approached the man, who seemed to be attempting to deliver something directly to President Trump. They apprehended him and ran his name, Kyle Odom, through a law enforcement database. Kyle was a college-educated Marine veteran, and to their shock, he had a red flag warrant out for his arrest, issued just 2 days prior. The charge? The attempted murder of his pastor, Tim Remington, all the way back in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. What led Kyle Odom to the White House and caused him to do what he had done was documented thoroughly in Kyle's own manifesto, a 42-page document revealing the bizarre, twisting rabbit hole that led him to the darkest depths imaginable. To put it plainly, Kyle had waited for Pastor Tim Remington to leave church. Once Tim was at his car with his back turned, Kyle, standing about 15 feet away, raised a .45 caliber handgun and fired 6 shots, one of them striking Remington in the head, lodging near his brain. One collapsing his lung, and the rest striking his shoulder area. Why? Because Kyle was convinced that Remington was a reptilian Martian, hell-bent on controlling his mind and ruining his life. When Kyle Odom was approximately 20 years old, he joined the Marine Corps, serving from 2006 to 2010 as a flight expedition technician. During his service, he received an Iraq Campaign Medal with 1 star, indicating he served during a campaign phase in Iraq. When Kyle left the military, he entered the University of Idaho, graduating summa cum laude in biochemistry in 2014. University records confirm that Odom was a Dean's List student who was awarded a fellowship in 2013 for advanced research in aging. As part of the fellowship, Odom presented biomedical research at a regional conference of the National Institutes of Health. In biographical documents associated with the fellowship, Odom wrote that he planned to seek a PhD in biochemistry. According to Kyle's manifesto, everything that led to the attack on Tim Remington began in the spring of 2014. Everything started while I was at University of Idaho. Spring 2014 was my final semester, and I was taking a heavy course load. Look at my transcript. I was very stressed due to the intensity of my schedule, so I searched for a way to cope. I discovered meditation, which seemed to help, so it became a part of my daily routine. As I learned more about meditation, I became interested in consciousness and our ability to affect it. I kept working on my meditation techniques and began achieving extreme states of consciousness. Today's video is all about disturbing unsolved mysteries. But you know what shouldn't be a mystery? Your health. That's why I need to tell you about the sponsor of this video, ZocDoc. ZocDoc is a free website where you can search and compare high-quality in-network doctors, choose the right one for your needs, and click to instantly book an appointment. We're talking about in-network appointments with more than 100,000 healthcare providers across nearly every specialty, from mental health to dental health, eye care to skin care, and much more. You can filter for doctors that take your insurance, are located nearby, are a good fit for any medical need you may have, and who are highly rated by verified patients. You can also see their actual appointment openings, choose a time that works for you, and click to instantly book a visit. Plus, ZocDoc appointments happen fast, typically within 24 to 72 hours of booking. You can even score same-day appointments. You don't have to talk to anyone, just book with a few clicks. So stop putting off those doctor's appointments. Go to ZocDoc.com/parapsych, link is also in the description, to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. And thanks so much to ZocDoc for sponsoring today's video. Kyle goes on to describe a bizarre encounter he experienced during meditation. One night in February of 2014, it was the most profound experience I've ever had. I was lying in bed meditating, then suddenly left my physical body. I entered a space that was completely dark and had no awareness of my physical boundaries or orientation. I felt very peaceful there until the blue light began to approach me. As the blue light got closer, I realized it was another being. Once I was in the being's presence, I felt an immediate sense of wrongdoing. It felt like I was being told, "You shouldn't be here." I instantly conceded and felt so guilty. I began to distance myself from the being. This had some kind of impact on them and seemed to change their mind about me. The moment I began to distance myself from the being, I became overwhelmed by a feeling I can only describe as unconditional love. During this part of the experience, our minds became connected. I saw that the being was female. I then began to feel the most euphoric, comforting, and blissful feelings I've ever felt. It was incredibly powerful and life-altering. Next thing I knew, I woke up. I had tears in my eyes and I couldn't get out of bed. I felt a profound sense of loss, like I had just lost someone so close to me. It was very painful. A few minutes later, the experience left my mind against my will, and I went about my day. After that, I had no urge to meditate at all. Every time I even thought about meditation, the thought was stripped from my mind. When I finally did try meditating again, I was unable to achieve anything. I didn't think much of it at the time, but I knew it wasn't going to improve. Ultimately, I decided to give up on meditation and just focus on my classes. Kyle explains how after meeting this exotic entity, everything became extremely easy for him. School had become entirely trivial for him, and he felt as though he had tapped into some kind of hidden power. About a month after the experience, he began interviewing at graduate schools. He accepted an offer from Baylor College of Medicine in Houston, Texas, to work on a PhD in human genetics. Kyle attempted to make things work at graduate school, but inside he was completely beside himself. Not only with how easy everything had become, but with all the issues he was finding in his professor's research and all the projects that were available for him to work on. He felt as though he was the only person able to see all these glaring problems with all these research projects, so he left. And that's when his life blew up. Kyle believed that some shadowy entity wanted him in that graduate program, and that once he left, the entity began dismantling his life in order to force his obedience. He claims 2 students, Eugene and Brandon, who he did not know, tried to force him to return and brainwash him into becoming a school shooter. Once he left Baylor College in Texas behind, Kyle began seeking employment. He had flown out of state to interview with a food company. The interview went poorly due to lack of sleep, which he felt was again some sort of strange interference from the dark beyond. On the plane ride back home, my seat was taken. I asked the flight attendant and she directed me to a new seat. Once I sat down, an older gentleman in front of me kept glancing back until he got my attention. As he kept looking back, my head began to hurt and tingle. The moment my head began to hurt, his lips curled up into this evil-looking smile. The pain and tingling in my head continued for the rest of the flight and got even more intense as time went on. Every time I felt it, the man would start taking notes in a notepad. About halfway through the flight, someone else in front of me held up a newspaper that said psychic reading for like 5 minutes straight. It was blatantly obvious they were doing something to me, but I didn't know what. Once we landed, the older gentleman kept showing me his track phone as if to say, "Get one of these." I had applied to several government agencies before this happened, so I thought this might be one of their ways of contacting me. Out of curiosity, I decided to go buy a track phone. I checked it every day to see if anyone messaged or called. About a month later, I got a text message from a man named John Padula. He invited me to come to church at the altar. It seemed like a strange place to be recruiting for government jobs, but I went anyway. After I got there and went inside, something felt very wrong. I felt as if my life was in danger, and I became so uncomfortable I had to leave. A couple days later, I started receiving text messages from Tim Remington. At first, they were innocuous Bible messages, but then he started threatening me. He sent messages talking about their power and other things. He did all of this through Bible verses so it would not look suspicious. I ignored everything until he sent one final text message, which simply said, "Angels." I thought nothing of it until helicopters started flying around my house all day and all night. At this point, I knew I was in trouble. I knew I needed to contact them. So I made an appointment to meet John Padula for coffee. Little did I know, he had no intention of meeting me. It's after coming into contact with Altered Church, and more specifically, after scheduling that meeting with John Padula for coffee that would never occur, that Kyle believes a terrifying hypersexual spiritual attack began. In his manifesto, he describes in grueling detail getting unnatural erections and receiving extreme sexual stimulation against his will, both penile and anal. He would suffer and agonize through sleepless nights, hearing songs singing the lyrics, "Sister, sister, he's just a plaything," on repeat for hours while he endured the assault. He heard voices in his head saying things like, "You're going to be uncomfortable. All you have to do is breathe. And you're going to be sacrificed like Jesus. You will be beheaded." He experienced what he believed were synchronicities. Like after one of these dreams where he heard voices telling him about how he was going to get killed like Jesus, a missionary showed up handing him a pamphlet that had the title, "The Sacrifice of Jesus Christ." He decided to flee Idaho and run back to his parents in New Mexico. When I reached the Spokane airport, my panic subsided. Everything was fine until I got on the plane to Albuquerque. I sat next to this huge man who kept telling me, telepathically, that he was going to crash the plane. Every time he spoke, he would sniff emphatically. I didn't know what to do, so I just sat there trying to stay as calm as possible. The man became angry about this and started touching my leg. The second he touched me, I could feel him inside my mind. This caused me to panic until I was on the verge of causing a scene. Before I did anything, he